Habari gani, karibuni, asanteni. Sorry that we are late. We are running into some technical issues. We are trying to get Dr. Mwatima Juma on, but there's trouble with the connection in Zanzibar. So we are still working on that. If she cannot join us, we're looking for alternatives. We might play a couple of audio recordings of her, or we will show some videos. In fact, we will start once myself and Ali Madi introduce ourselves. We're going to share a couple of videos. If you have solutions, please share them in the chat. For those of you who are tech savvy on how we can get Mama Mwatima on, let us know. We are trying also to see whether we can do Google Meet and maybe share that screen with her. So we're working on that as we continue with the conversation. Again, Nduku Mulumba, co-host on Kumbukeni, telling the African story from an African perspective, countering the false narrative that the Western media has propagated against us and our motherland for too long. Ndugu Ali Madi.
Yes, comrades, sisters and brothers, friends, from wherever you're tuning in to our weekly Chuo Kikuu, of course, Kiswahili for university. First of all, I want to apologize. I'm struggling with a cold, so my voice may periodically break now and then. But yeah, we were really looking forward to today's show because we have a dynamic African sister, an organic farmer, and we wanted to have her educate us about organic farming in Africa. Back to you, Sister Nduku. I think you're muted. Sister Nduku, you're muted. I think she's still trying to get our guests connected.
I'm speaking to Mama Mwatima, sorry.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let me...
So the good thing with her is she produces her own, I can't even say fertilizer because fertilizer has that chemical type connotation. She produces manure, let's put it that way. For her production, everything is self-contained. She captures her own water in a water tower and uses that to do her sprinkler system, irrigation system on her land. And one thing that I have not yet gotten to know, because obviously we haven't interviewed her yet, is to find out whether she taught herself all the farming and agriculture that she knows, or whether she got some formal training. Her father actually had the land, and the father was a farmer too, because in a couple of the videotapes that she has prepared on YouTube that I've been watching, she constantly referred to what she learned from her farmer. They don't waste anything on that farm. Everything is self-contained. So the waste refuse is used, as I just said, to produce manure. And the water is not wasted either. The water that they use even to wash items in the kitchen are drained straight to different parts of the farm. So for example, to the location where she grows vegetables, location where she grows bananas, and all of this is done with a very intricate piping system that is built within the farm. So everything is self-contained. And obviously one of the questions I have for her is how much can this be scaled? How many more African sisters and brothers can be May. Oh, our guest is with us. Okay, Karibu. Our guest is with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, Karibu.
Yes,
So I was speaking on your behalf, just based on the videos that I've seen.
Man,
so
these are
Karibu.
tactical maneuvers. I'm telling you, we are.
All right, go ahead. Just don't go back to you.
Hi, basi Mama Matima.
Oh no! Don't tell us we lost her. She's gone.
This African internet. We need to do something about it.
She's gone.
She's coming back. Hi, Basi.
Okay, well, introduce her so we can get started before we... Yeah, just introduce her, sister. So whenever she comes, she can say a few things. If she disappears, we'll plug in.
So Dr. Mwatima Juma, I refer to her. Hold on. Mama Mwatima, labda usiwashe video.
Yeah.
Labda uingie tu na sauti, ni sawa?
Unanisikia?
Tunakusikia vizuri sana. Asante sana.
Okay.
Haya basi. Ungependa kujitambulisha?
This meeting is tunaenda kwa Kiswahili?
Kiingereza tafadhali. Ni mimi tu nazungumza nawe katika.
Kwa sababu tukiwa tunaenda kwa Kiswahili, na mimi Kiswahili changu naenda kwa spidi.
Najua, nimekusikia ukizungumza.
Itakuja kuwa shida kwenu. Okay.
Hi.
So my name is Matima Juma. I call myself Rural Development Specialist. Do you get me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Nakusikia, ndio.
Okay. So my name is Mwatima Juma, and I call myself as a Rural Development Specialist. When I started my career, I was calling myself an agronomist, and I was loving what I'm doing because I did my degree in agriculture in Sokoine University, and then I went for my master's in Australia and my PhD in UK. All the time, I was pushing for the agenda of industrial agriculture, as I was made to believe that is the panacea, that is the only thing that we could use to increase our productivity, and then we can be away from hunger. Late 90s, get myself meeting with the people who were exporters of the organic products from Zanzibar. And they came to the office. That time I was a commissioner for research and extension, and they were asking for a support to do some inspection of the farm to see that people are following principles for the organic production. And it was an interest for me because that was my first time hearing something to do with organic production and not my usual way of production, which I have been studying for almost like a whole decade, from 1970s until 1989. I was always studying about using chemicals in the production. So I got interested in that one. And I even myself at that level, I still agreed to be an inspector. And I started to understand organic agriculture, being an inspector, and then graduate and becoming a teacher to teach young inspectors. And when we were doing that, we get a kind of the like-minded people saying, then why are we exporting this? What about us? So that was the start of an umbrella organization called Tanzania Organic Agriculture Movement. We call in all the like-minded, being producers, NGOs, exporters, to form an umbrella organization to push for the agenda of organic in the country, and that's when it gets more and more interesting and more engaging. I got a chance to be a member, as the movement become a member of International Federation for Organic Agriculture, IFAD. 2005 election, I was elected into the executive committee for the IFAD, and we were pushing we need to find ways so that within our African countries, we understand better what it is, because we are a bit in a limbo. We had all the time tell our farmers to leave out what they have been doing traditionally, their own way of production and bringing them something that we told them this is excellent. And now we want to go back and tell them, wait a minute, I think something is not right. We need to see now we are going back into what we are doing, because at the moment, more and more we see the impact of the chemicals that we are using on our own health, and more so on the health of our soils. So that struggle is in continuity, and that put me, and I'm still chair for the organic movement, and we were pushing for the agenda. We are happy now. I mean, lots of different wording about organic came in, but in our own language, in our Swahili language, we said, let's just continue to call it Kilimo Hai, provided that we know basically what we should not be doing and what we should be doing. Now we are part also of agroecology organic. We are happy among the civil society organizations. We get together and we manage to push the government to support us and development of these strategies. So last year, December almost, the ecological organic agriculture strategy for Tanzania has been developed. And for me, that's really key, because that's when we can really be doing something together with the government. You know, our governments here, farmers and everybody else listen very much to what is the government directive. So if we have a strategy developed in partnership with the government, then we are implementing government agenda. And my hope for this year is I see a lot of lights in the end of the tunnel, as we have to find support in terms of implementation of the strategy for the ecological organic agriculture, and to see it how way forward. When we talk about our traditional agriculture, for me now is to say to our farmers, to the smallholder farmers, to the farmer, that they should forgive us. We wrong them because of our own also ignorance and the belief of something that can do wonders. And very unfortunate, we did not continue in depth doing research in our own systems. So now most of those traditional way of how you can take care of the plant and the soil and increase your productivity and have the quality of the produce is not there. We used to plant according to the moon. We used to not to have only one crop. We used to have what someone else will see a chaos in our smallholder farmers, but the farmer themselves, they know that there is an order there, and that order was very necessary for biodiversity, for reducing pest and disease infestation, for also helping them to be household food secured, because at any moment in time they can harvest something. And the new way of production push us into monoculture, and then you have only one crop with hundreds of thousands of hectares, and then you are still food insecure, because all what you are producing is for sale, with the hope that you'll get the money, and then you buy other food stuff that you could even produce yourself, fruits and vegetables and the like. So it's a bit of an uphill struggle, because the knowledge we wanted to have been there is not there. It's not very difficult. The scientific research support is not coming. The multinational companies that are doing business with chemicals are also very, very powerful, strong. Money is being used around. And we also not get much of the support in the research. Those guys, they take control of the seeds. The type of seed that you are growing are all bred according to the use of those chemicals. So if you take just the normal hybrid seeds, if you don't use, it's like a package. If you don't use that chemical that has been bred for that seed, then you will not get much of what you want. And you are looking around, your indigenous seeds are being lost, because these other seeds, once they take over, then you don't have a space for them. Your original seeds will be, and most of the time they might produce less, but whatever less is produced, it can be very well compensated with the quality of what is produced. So now people are looking more into quantity of the production and not much on the quality. And then you have a business of chemicals, fertilizers, and pesticides. You have a business of seed. It means the whole of your agriculture system is hijacked. You are held at ransom. You say you want to go organic, but where are the seeds? You don't even have organic seeds. So you are using the same seeds that are being bred for the chemicals. And then they are not performing well because they have not been bred for the type of what you want. So I believe that in the beginning, it can be a little bit of a struggle, but in terms of compensating for quality and quantity and taste of the food, that we could win that one if we get people coming back to recognize what is happening. At the moment, even our own extension system has been really biased into chemicals. When they see any problem, there is no solution for them. They will just tell you, go to the what we call them, these small shops that sell chemicals. Anything, their solution is that chemical. And unfortunately for our language, they even call it dawa, which is completely poison, but we call it dawa. I said, you need to buy that dawa. This is the only one. And the more we use, we are really holding ransom, the more you need, because pests and diseases, they also don't want to disappear. These are, for me, I tell people that these are also beings. So you cannot just kill them to think that you will eliminate them completely and they will never be there. So, and those people who are producing chemicals, they know that. So every time they tell you, oh, now we have a better version. Now buy this one. Yeah, that one is not more powerful anymore. These guys have changed now this one. So in the end, you feel like the day I stop this is the day I'm going just to die without anything. We are scared even to try. As much, because we are so much in use, we keep on telling each other that you cannot produce this vegetable without using these chemicals. Completely despair into them. So it's a kind of a form of a colonialization, in one way. Duku, I don't know how long you want me to talk, because when I get emotional,
no. You're doing very, very well.
Yes.
I just wanted to add one thing that maybe you can continue with the way you started and want to continue. It's all up to you. I wanted to say, if you were to speak to all the ministers of agriculture in African countries, tell us some of the things you would tell them. And then also, what is the attitude of the FAO toward organic and the World Bank toward organic as well? Thank you.
Okay. The first one, I'm looking forward for that opportunity. I just got a bit of it when I was in Germany during the organic trade fair. We met with the Minister for Agriculture from Uganda. And I told him, Minister, please help us, at least to start with removing those highly hazardous chemicals that we are still using them, because they are still registered in our countries while they've been banned across the world. Wow. When you look into pesticide network, you see every year they congratulate themselves. Like last year in America, they said, oh, we are so happy we managed to push the system, and now we have removed the 300 pesticide out of the system. Us, we have the 44, and these 44 are just for the crops, and we're not even talking about the pesticide that we are using for human health, for killing cockroaches and the like. The 44, we have them registered. We know And these are recorded by our own institute that deals with pesticide, that these are highly hazardous. And they are still there, and you can just buy them at the market easy. So I was telling
even though they're banned in the Western countries.
Yeah, they're banned. And the sad thing is, when this was previous year, when I was still in Germany, and I met the junior minister for agriculture, and I asked, you know that these chemicals which are banned in here, the like of glyphosate, that they are really like over the counter in our countries, and Monsanto is here and Bayer and is making them. What is your say into this? And she told me that this is a capitalist country. We are doing business. They are doing their business. They are paying their tasks. Government gets its share. It is up to your countries to say no.
Wow.
And I shivered. I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
And every time I get a chance, I said, those guys there with the Monsanto, they say they will never stop Monsanto producing harmful chemicals. I know now there are civil society organizations in those countries that are pushing and demanding their countries not to allow the chemical that they are not using to go into other countries. But these are other people who are making noise for us.
Yeah.
And we, with our own government, we register. So for me, if I go to the government, I will not push them too much into going organic. I'll just tell them, let's be much more rigorous and take out these chemicals which are harmful. We don't even need to do research on them. Those people who are producing them, if they say we are not using them because they are hazardous, then we just have to take them out. We see the increase of non-communicable disease. Unbelievable. But no one is doing research to say, yes, this is for this, and then they go out. So one word is, let's start with the hazardous chemicals. These are all over. I don't know any of African country that has banned the use of these highly hazardous chemicals. So we become a dumper. In some of these conscious countries, they can even use the third country to manufacture them. They can be manufactured in China, and they can come in like they're coming from China, but they are on us. So it is up to our government to take action on that without agreeing into it one. Very unfortunate for me, I would say, and people are always telling me, Matima, you don't have any evidence, but I will say that the pesticide industries are very strong, and they use money.
Yes.
I don't have evidence. Milton, don't quote me with what is happening with FAO, but FAO need money, and if it can get money from crop life, and crop life is getting all the money from the pesticide, do you think it will talk about don't use the pesticide?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You mentioned
line is us. You know, the bottom line is our own government to say no, but we should not depend on FAO or World Bank to say no, because they also depend money to come from the same industries that we are making noise of them. These people, this has been a lucrative business. They will never want to let it go.
Yeah.
So if I get another chance for the ministers, if they remove these highly hazardous chemicals, then I will tell them that you are doing subsidy for the chemicals for the farmers. Can you give a certain percent of smallholder farmers whom I cannot even afford to pay for the subsidized value of what you are giving them? So they really not using the amount that is supposed to be using. So why don't we turn them into organic? Why don't we tell them into a way where they can fertilize their soils and take care of their pest and disease within the resources which they are in their own reach? I know now India, they have very much advanced in terms of natural farming. Andhra Pradesh, all the farmers are natural farming. You need only 2 cows. You collect the urine, you mix it with the lentil, you put in effective microorganism, which you just collect in your forest soil. You prepare your own stuff, and you continue to produce. The secret is diversity on your farm. So this is the second one which I tell the minister. You want to tell me something, Duku?
Yes, as you're talking, I'm like, I want to jump in on so many things. But as you were talking about the pesticides, not just for the crops, but for the insects as well. When I was at home in Kenya in March of last year, everywhere I went, there was a sign, kuua panya, dawa ya kuua panya, medicine, chemical for killing rats. Everywhere, the radio, as you're walking on the street, that was all that was being announced. And we went from the city to the village. When we got to the small town, just before we go to our home, there was right there a shop selling GMO seeds. And I said to the shopkeeper, why are you selling GMO seeds? You know, these are harmful. She said to me, I'm just trying to make a living. I really don't care what happens to the farmer. I said, well, guess what? You will care when you eat that food and it gets you sick. So is there a way we can reach, first of all, I think the solution is in us, not the government, Mama Mwatima, because the government has failed us. In Kenya, they had banned during Uhuru's, the previous president's government, they had banned GMO. Yes. And now Ruto has brought back GMO. So the government knows these things are harmful, but because they are getting paid, they're getting some money from these Western entities, they allow these things to come into the nation. So for me, it would be a call to action from the people. If you have, oh goodness, if you have someone, I'll keep watching to see if she comes back. If you have someone in your family that is fighting cancer, if you have someone in your family that is getting a disease you cannot understand, if you're watching in your town, people getting sick and you don't understand why. My mother, I spoke to her recently. Before I left Kenya, I never knew of anything, seasonal allergies. That did not exist in my life. There was nothing like seasonal allergies when I was growing up in Kenya. I came to the United States, I start sneezing, itching eyes, and I'm asking what's going on, and I'm introduced to seasonal allergies. This whole time in Kenya, that hasn't been happening. Come 2024, and they are planting these maize that has been sent from the West. And my mother is telling me this season, they have seasonal allergies. She's been sneezing. There's a dust, she says, there's a dust that is around from the maize, from the corn, that is making us itch and have sneezing and all that. So they are literally bringing their trash. That's literally what it is. Their trash into our home. They are bringing
not trash. It's
right?
poison. It's poison. She just told us.
They're bringing their poison, and they are not consuming it in their own spaces. It has been rejected in their own spaces, and our African leaders are so daft and so
corrupt. Yeah, it's corrupt.
So greedy that they cannot put their own people first. I say the people should take over. This cannot be something.
Yeah, we need to elevate her voice, definitely, including here in the United States. I think we should get her on a lot more platforms. We can definitely start by having her immediately on WBAI. I'm very impressed with the little that I've heard so far. I hope that she repairs her connectivity and that we can get to hear a few more questions. I certainly want to know about conferences of organic farmers, whether there's some occurring in Tanzania right now, whether there's some prominent ones in African countries that we need to promote as well, and just give them more visibility, because a voice like this, if she gets a US audience, she could definitely help elevate the pressure on some of these companies that sell poison that you can't sell in the US or in Britain. This is
and
outrageous.
To speak to the woman she talked about in Germany, right? These Wazungu or something else, man. They're lucky they're speaking to Matima and not me, because I don't have grace. To speak to a person like that, a human being, and they say to your face, this is a business. That is when you know, like you're talking to a criminal. This is a business. While she knows in her country there are policies that banned it. This is a business. They are doing their business. It is up to your countries, your governments to reject it. When she knows very well that they are putting pressures on those very leaders.
Right. And unfortunately, she's right, because they won't do it. And as Mama Matima was saying, our governments, I think she's talking about getting the government to support organic. But people like her, and of course, I know the kind of consequences that would face, they'd probably start locking them up if they were to start, putting protests and demonstrations against their own governments for allowing these poisons to be imported and sold in their countries. I'm sure if you started organizing protests against organic seeds, you probably get locked up.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
welcome back.
Yes.
Welcome back.
We need to take that risk because it is worth saving all those lives. We need to take we're talking about Dr. King and all those other people who came before us who knew that when Dr. King reached out to the community, he said, I remember one time when they're recruiting college students, who is ready to go to jail tonight? Like, who is okay with going to jail tonight? And you have to have that mindset. You know very well you're pushing a system that is criminalizing you liberating yourself. So are you willing to sleep in the cell tonight for the sake of millions of Africans to eat healthy and have healthy food? Mama,
right, so
yes, I think I think when we started with the movement, we started maybe like getting into the government, getting the government to have at least a section, a desk that deals with organic within the ministry, because the way our government runs is not like your government is running. Your government, it can make noise at White House, but the structure down into the ministry, into the levels of departments is much more stable. Our government it can have a hand in all that. I'm trying my best if I can get, and I've been talking to the ministers and if I can get a bit of a higher level, if I can get to talk to the president or to the vice president and say, we just want you to start with a political statement, just to say it is okay if a farmer wants to do their production in organic. Yes. We cannot go out at this level and stage we are and we say ban chemical tomorrow. We cannot say that. It will be a suicide. It will not work. But if we say it is okay to use an organic approach in your production, then the farmers will say, wow, this is what we want to hear, because until now, the statement from the government is what is taken. Yeah. I have my own cousin nearby here, and he's using chemicals, paraquat and the like. And I said, these things are poison. You are killing yourself. And he said, if they are poison, the government will not have allowed them to be in the shops. Who are you, Matima, to tell me now that this is a poison where the government has allowed it to be in the shops? So we are at that level.
And that is a very pervasive mindset, because many people presume that government is here to protect my best interest.
Absolutely.
And would not participate in condoning something that would harm me. Oh, that's very tragic. But that's not unique to Tanzania. That's not unique to Tanzania.
No, it's not.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are in that stage, but now we realize that let's do both fronts. Maybe one space they will meet. There are a lot of smallholder farmers that we talk to them and we convince them, try in a manner of making a dividend of what you are doing. If you have an export market, fine. But even if you don't have, just look and make your numbers that you are not losing. Now you are not even counting. Every time you see a pest, you take out 20,000 shillings, you buy a bottle, just because bottle is written here, made in USA. And even if it has all the sign of the poison on it, you say, this is it. Yeah. And we are telling you, take your neem leaves, soak them, boil them, make a neem oil out of them, use your garlic, use this, use that. They will repel this pest and you still have something. You don't trust this because it doesn't have a nice label, like a nice looking bottle with all these stickers which says this is effective for blah, 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 blah. You don't even know what is in here. I tell people, it's like taking all these drugs which we are taking. Sometimes now we say, forget about this. I don't even know. And now the corruption is such a level that they can put something in here which you don't know, but you believe. Why don't you believe into yourself? So out of 10, we might get 3 people. They say, yeah. The other day, we were talking with the organic farmers, and I was so impressed. A young guy was telling me, I can't believe it that we are selling safe food to the hotels, to the guests, but we are killing ourselves in our local market. We spray just before we take to the market. What kind of people we are? And I'm like, okay, let's go emotionally, let's go into conscious, let's talk to the farmers, but where we have been very weak in our space is consumers. I know in Europe, the organic started with the consumer. They say no. When the consumer says no, the farmer, they have no choice.
Yeah.
Every Sunday to me is I have an event which we call it From the Farm to the Table. And then I get an opportunity to talk to the people. And today I was telling them, you will see like you have nothing you can do about the situation, but you have a lot. Every one of you, every time you go to the market, you ask the seller in the market, have this been sprayed? And you say, I don't like things that are being sprayed. The message goes back to the farmers. And then before we realize, we get that change. So it is as the consumer, we should just don't go to the market and just buy because that's the stuff is there. Question them.
Yeah.
And
So,
some markets, they can tell clearly, oh, this is big spinach, full of nothing, just water in itself. This has been sprayed, no hole, nothing. This one, it has some few holes, and it looks like the leaves are small. This has not been sprayed. Then take the one which is not sprayed. And if the seller find themselves, they have a lot unsold stuff which is sprayed, the message goes back. Because spraying costs them. It is expensive on them. So that way then we could be able to do. And influencing a consumer is costly. And people who are doing like that is a civil society organization. It's costly, and it's not as easy as going to the farm and visit the farmers and talk to them. But these are the farmers, when they go to the market, people doesn't like to have their tomatoes or bananas or spinach, which has some few holes. So they won't sell. So they won't listen to you. So they will spray. So you need to get on the other side and to get support, financing support, to support you to create that awareness. That's a bit of a challenge. But now within our movement, we try to say, let's get some grouping. We don't even have a civil society organization with strong as a consumers. I know yours is very strong. I'm following it up with the Organic Consumer Association of USA. It's very strong, and those consumer associations, they are the ones working together with the pesticide networks to say, this is the chemical that has to go out. And this is the one that, and you can sue. You have that advantage. Me here, if I don't, if I see that there is someone is dead because of the spraying, whom am I suing?
Yeah.
Nobody. I got a cancer. I know the guy who had a cancer of whatever, and he sued Monsanto, and he got billions. But here, there is nothing like that. We are fighting to make sure that our biosafety policy, it has a strict liability, and we have people or institutions that are getting funding, and they go out of their way telling us that there is no harm in these GMOs. We say, we just want, if there is no harm, then why are you fighting to remove strict liability? You have to be liable because you are not sure what is going to happen in the next. And they don't know that these people, they just want to erode our seeds. We were all furious in the East African movements when Kenya said it is okay for GMO, it has been proven here and here. We're like, oh my God. And the borders are so porous.
Right.
And if it is in Kenya, it is in Tanzania. So if we don't move together, now we have a legislative in East Africa, we want to fight it. But we have no financial muscles as the guys who want that to come into us. Because those guys, they see very far. Some of them, they see since the Second World War, end of Second World War, when they see the opportunity of using Agent Orange and the ammonia that was used in the bomb for fertilizer and pesticide, they saw very far. And also they really saw very far that these African countries, they are going to be the market for our produce.
Exactly.
So if the stuff have been used in there, then things comes out that way. So yes, we cannot just leave government out. As much as we can get, we have to try to push them, but also we have to push not only farmers as we used to do. Now we have to push consumers.
So you were talking about the GMO, which reminds me, I was reading a story a couple of years ago in the Ugandan newspaper. I think, in fact, the government newspaper called New Vision, or maybe it was the Monitor, the other one. Anyway, the story was about farmers in one part of the country that used the GMO seeds. So they planted for the season, and then it did not germinate.
Yes.
So they waited the entire season, and they got nothing out of their yield for that particular year. So can you imagine how destructive that is? But I had a question for you also. In terms of incentivizing more organic farmers, I was reading an article in, I forgot the name of the magazine, about how some Ugandan women were growing something called moringa, organic. And they were making a lot of money out of that, you know. In fact, they were building houses out of the revenue for moringa and sending more people to school. So is that one way to incentivize more organic farmers if people are taught that this is a potential revenue stream?
Yes, it is. We know, for example, we know that the US, in the list of the product that they want, last year, May, I was in Washington and I paid on my own. Nobody refunded me that money because I wanted to see the Ministry of Agriculture in US and ask them what kind of support they do for the organic owners, and why, when we have funding from USAID here, why we don't get support for the organic. So when I see these people, they said, for them, maybe this is part of the state government. Some states are pushing more, like in California, compared to other states. But at the federal level, they have money, $700 million set aside for those who wish to convert. I wish I had even a quarter of that money set aside to support, because at the moment, to tell them that there is this opportunity, you need to train them, you need to be there, you need to talk to them, to know that there is this opportunity. And for example, the opportunity for moringa, US want moringa, but they want organic moringa, and they want it being produced based on the USDA standards. Those are also expensive. To certify based on US standard is not cheap. And when you are just producing, you cannot do that. But as they are putting money in support for capacity building, in support for reduction in the income of the farmers, they could say, we will support the certification. So then we will not have a headache of that. Because for us, moringa it has never been exposed to the chemical, unless where you have your moringa, you are also growing your vegetables, your tomatoes, and you are spraying them. But most of the moringas, traditionally, as I used to know them, they were just fencing for the wash places in the villages, and they are not difficult crops. They don't need any pesticide, they don't need anything, and they can be planted as a border plant, as a fencing, and at the same time you maximize the use of your land by having them as a border, and you can take it out. So if we had a program like the one that the federal government set aside $700 billion for those who want to change from conventional to go to organic, this could have been much easier, because for our farmers is educating them more Unfortunately, they are not organic and they are not conventional. They use the stuff as they come. They are in between. You cannot. So some of them we say that they are by default. But as soon as somebody goes there and tell that person, use paraquat, use Gramaxone, and you will never have a problem with your back for weeding.
Yeah.
And they buy it and they spray and they see all the grasses go brown and they congratulate themselves. Oh, I did not even have to bend. I just sprayed and all the grasses go brown. You don't know how much damage you did to your own health
Right.
and to the soil. So education,
Right.
Yes.
knowledge.
What is the
in
membership? What is the membership of your organic farmers organization? How many people are members?
Very few.
Hey.
Been compared to the land area, compared to the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
But most of these farmers, for example, we will have the cotton growers.
Yeah.
It will be that company which manages organic farmers. So the organic farmers can be 200,000 or 300,000, but their representative is that company. But we still have more room for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most of those ones which are producing products that go out for export, that the companies themselves are paying for that certification. And this again is we are preparing for other people and not for ourselves.
Exactly.
Even when we are doing cotton, for example, now we are pushing, we had a good discussion with the cotton people. If you are producing cotton and it is certified organic, and the green gram that grows in rotation with the cotton, that should also be sold as a certified organic. But the cotton buyer says, I'm not interested in the green gram. Don't change my line of business. I'm interested in cotton. And then nobody else comes in to take over that one. And unfortunately, that certificate belongs to the trader and not to the farmers. If the certificate belonged to the farmer, then they could say, the green gram now we are selling it to US because this certificate is USDA certificate, or we are selling it to Germany and you take your cotton to Switzerland and the like. So there's a lot of that groundwork that needs to be done there to move into
break the
that
monopoly.
direction.
Yeah.
To break
But
the monopoly.
here goes the thing, though. We call ourselves the global majority. I mean ourselves, right? Wana Ubuntu, Africans, otherwise known as Africans. We are the global majority. If just a million of us, and we are more than a million, if just a million of us give $1, that's $1 million, right? So 7 million of us can give $1. That is that $7 million that the US government has to subsidize its farmers and encourage them to grow organic.
700 million they have.
700 million. 700 million. 700 million. How many Africans? I don't know if you know in the chat, please share with us how many Africans are in the globe. Our people. How many of our people are in the globe? And we need to start moving ourselves and stop relying on systems to take care of us.
They need to be educated too, see?
That too, but we need to start the little money we have, the little money I have, the little money someone else has. If we put that together, it is powerful. And I don't know what is keeping us from doing that, putting that together. Mama
Selfishness, because we were being taught to be selfish.
Right.
We have been taught that you cannot do it, you have to depend somewhere else. I have been fighting for only these about 200 members of my umbrella organization to pay their membership fee. And you will be surprised, is 100,000 shillings in a year, and you're still struggling to get that. So everybody is thinking that why should we bother to put money ourselves if there are some stupid wazungu somewhere that they will just give us money. We just have to write a proposal, we just have to write a project, and the money will come in. That's my conclusion on this. It's so sad,
it is
but
sad.
it's
We
a
have to
reality.
break that. So are you, excuse me, do you speak on radio or do you speak on TV? Do you speak to the schools? How do you get this knowledge that you have? How do you spread it much more widely?
Yeah, from time to time. I don't have a regular ones, because also sometimes to go to the radio, to the television, some of them you need to pay for the airtime. But anytime I get a moment, for example, we had a Women's Day the other day. We had an event at our farm. We celebrate with the young ladies that have been trained in similar things in sustainable production system and empowerment. I talked. I talked about what we can do. I even talked about how we can also try to see a bigger funders like the World Bank, African Development Bank. Yes, we know they give loans to the government, but how can we work that money, a small percent of it, is also being shared to civil society organizations which are doing a specific objective, even just use them as a service provider, and sending that message down. But how can they allow that? Because there's also another issue for them in terms of the business that is going on the chemical fertilizers and the pesticide. So it's a little bit of a pooling in
interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So-
I talk, Milton, I talk to the radio, I talk to the on the ground, went to the South region, we had a discussion, we go to the North, we had a discussion, in Dodoma, we find any opportunity. And that's why when somebody gets me, I don't know where she got my address, she just start writing to me and I say, yes, I'll talk.
Right.
Without even knowing what am I going to talk to, and we have not even
Right.
decided what is the subject about,
I
think the talk is out.
I
No.
actually found you last year, and when I came, I was the one who wanted to visit your farm last year, but my funds were not enough for me to visit. But here, how can we, the community that is watching today,
Yeah.
and the community that's going to watch this video, how can we
That's my
support? Where
question.
can we send money?
No, okay, so let me amend that, because that was my question too.
Amen. Amen.
Could you tell people that are listening that you and your organization and the people that you work with in organic agriculture, tell us what you could do with some level of funding. So, for example, with 1,000, we would be able to do this. With 5,000, we'd be able to do this. With 10, we'd be able to do this. And then, we can push for a sort of a drive to support
That's a
specific
great amendment, my brother. That's a great amendment.
specific programs. People like to see something come to fruition, and then after that, they can support something else.
Yeah.
Okay. I will start with this one because I'm part of the umbrella organization. I want the secretariat to be able to have enough funds to do advocacy and making noise at a higher level, and also being the ones who will be able to do better communication, making sure all the stories that are happening from the members in the South, in the North, in the Middle are brought in, taken out in the newsletters, in the radios, in the television. People know. If you want to know something about how to go ahead with your organic production, and you are in the southern region and you want to grow your chilies or you want to grow your avocados, go and see Inshida. This is a member of TOAM who is based there, and they will let you know 1, 2, 3 of that. If you want to know something about this in Arusha, go and see Mbiarusha, because there they have smallholder farmers. Go and see Isle of Peace and all these other things that we don't have.
Right.
Until now, the movement funding is also project oriented, which is not right, because if you are project oriented, you are just answering the objective of a particular organization. So for the minimum that we can have in a year, 500,000, I want to focus on communication.
500,000 Tanzanian shillings?
Wow, wait. US dollar. When we talk internationally, we don't talk about Tanzanian shillings.
500,000 Tanzanian shillings is not much in terms
It's
of dollars.
almost $50.
No, 500,000 Tanzanian shillings, I also have it. But 500,000 US dollars, I don't have it.
Right.
So we do that. And then if we go to the next level, now we have more, then we said extra one, we will want to go and stabilize our messages on a zonal basis.
Right.
For us being a big country, we want to be in northern zone, and we meet with most of the members in the northern zone. We spread the word. We are meeting under this mango tree. We are going to talk. Let's know about your issues, your problems, how we can make sure that now, because people have already been used to do input, where they can get input, which are bio inputs, and how they can make use it. Extra millions, I will support the youth who are now engaged in doing work on doing their own research in developing their own biopesticides or rearing of their own biopests. This is another level. They need support. They need to be helped in the research, refining their pesticide, their biopesticide, the refining their what we call it, their stimulant, their biofertilizers. Is a big move now, using seaweeds in making fertilizers, using cow dung, using whatever. So that is a business. And we have a couple of youth who are already doing that, and they within themselves, they are also member of the umbrella. We said, okay, we will support you, so that when we hear farmers making noise like I need a biofertilizer, and then you can say, okay, you can use the biogenic, or I need a pesticide, you can use Viruga, because that one we know and we can test it, and we are happy that, and it provides job opportunity. Why we should still continue to provide market opportunity for the other people and their industries in their countries, and their people in their country, they're getting that employment, and our people are still struggling for the employment. So there's a lot of those other things that we could be able to do as more of those millions that are coming in. Myself at this stage, I said, we as an umbrella organization, as a secretariat, I'm trying to instill into the secretariat the habit of let's do the best, but we still lack the quality of the people that we need to employ. You cannot have people depending on the project and the project ending. Now this year already they are starting with, if we don't get that money for BioVision, we will be struggling again. We'll go again without any salary. We are only here as we are fighting to get another project. So it's not the fight to develop. We cannot be like Oxfam or Action Aid, whom they don't have to look for funds. The other people, their government or their people from their own country are putting the money together and they're giving to them. Us, we have Tanzanian millionaires, but we have not reached that stage that they can give us money for that. They also have their own priorities. Maybe it's more on the football or other things, we don't know, but not necessarily seeing that there is an issue within the sustainability and the way we are pushing our agriculture for the future generation.
Even though it affects their health.
I am so glad you mentioned those African millionaires, because there's one I'm actually very upset at. And my thing is, if you're a millionaire in Africa, I don't want to see you bragging if you're not supporting something that is going to change the situation in Africa. Like, don't put a link on what you're doing and then another link to show us the website so that we can see what is being done, and then you can brag. But if you're not sending money to such organizations like Matima Juma mentioned, I don't care how many billions you own, please. Alimadi.
Okay, that was the other question too. Your website, what is your website?
Yes. Where can they send the money? How can they contact you?
Yeah, I really have a fight.
Contact us and we contact you. Which way?
Or is that where we start? Because you
because I really, this is the area where you have a person who is supposed to be a communication, but mainly you see like this person is just a camera. When we have updated our website, I think it's the www.toam.org. If it is not that, the other week I even asked them, can we put in a space where people can put in some funds to support us, and then we have to be accountable for the fund that they are putting in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that has
okay.
been it.
That
is that area of the weakness that I've been talking about.
Okay, that's fine. We understand that, and that's one of the things I think we can start supporting you with.
I was gonna say, Alimad,
sure.
as you're saying that, I was gonna say we have Mwatima, I'm going to reach out to you after this because our organization is setting up a website, and we can have one of the projects be supporting you, and the people can send the money through there. So I'll reach out to you and we can see whether we can.
And in addition to that, we should help her set up a state-of-the-art website for her organization as well.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
Your message.
That is also a talent, and you don't get it cheap.
Yep.
Right. So we'll support that. And the other question is, do you attend some of these? Because I had a friend who's also very big in organic agriculture, and she's from Nigeria actually, and she goes to a lot of these conferences. And in the past, I attended some of them, and there's some people there who are deep-pocketed and support these movements. So, have you attended any of these conferences? Because if not, we can try to identify one of the more prominent ones and perhaps find a way to assist you in attending at least once a year, where you can make some of the connections to help you as well.
That's another route.
Yeah, it depends on the resource. The one which I know is coming is one on International Federation for Organic Agriculture Movement. They have 2 years congress where it's very good because they also, apart from doing their membership issues, but they have a conference of scientific papers and discussions and the like. The last one I attended, I was a bit sad because most of the paper presented about organic are still dealing with the situation in the temperate countries and not very much in the tropics. This other one is going to happen in Taiwan. Maybe, hopefully, there will be more research work that will be within the range of our climatic regions and the like. Also, the attending of the conference is one which is going to happen in Cairo, in Egypt, with SECEM as a center for organic. This is also well known. But then you have to start struggling. Who is going to support you? Who's going to sponsor you to be there? And if someone sponsor you, there is also a question of, so what it is for them.
Yes,
it's not like, what is it for them? Why you should use the funds? And for them, they say, why do you want to go to the conference while this money can be used to train these farmers? They don't take it that your exposure will also help to understand more. I'm very thankful during the years, the 90s and the early 2000s, when I get a lot of chance. And I was even I've been choosing to be part of International Center for Crop Organic Research Food System of Denmark. It gave me a lot of exposure, going out and seeing what is happening to other farmers. They even took me to Peru. And so I should not say like I'm born and I'm capable of knowing all these things, but you need to be exposed and you need to see which ones are really possible to happen to you and which one are not happening. So the $500,000, the part of it when I talk about advocacy and communication was also to try specifically which are the conferences that you can go and which one will be able to capture the support. And at the same time, you still have to fight for your own millionaires to understand you
Yes.
and to support you.
To support, right?
So I know there is so much. I'm going to just say for everyone that is watching, we just put up the link, the YouTube video channel, Mama Mwatima's Msonge Organic Family Farms YouTube channel. Visit the channel, see all the good stuff they're doing. I am having fun watching the videos. The chicken are enjoying the healthy food that you're feeding them. I like to see what you're doing as far as everything they do is lovely. And you can hear from the background, Mama Matima, it's a team of people. And she's very good at thanking her team and appreciating her team, which is also something that we all learn from. But
That's the noise of the farm.
I'm sorry?
I said we can hear the farm in the
I
background.
am enjoying the noise of the farm. That means there's life, there's happiness, things are happening well. That is good to hear.
Yeah, and I think you are also enjoying now the noise of the family. They've been away, now they get in here and everybody is talking.
Oh,
Sorry
very good.
about that.
No, it's fine. So I had one more question.
Yes.
Have you been working on a book, perhaps?
A book?
Yes.
Oh,
Maddie is giving you.
I need to tell you my secret. I have a big mouth, but I have a limitation in writing.
Oh, no, you can't have that. Or you could do this. You could speak on the specific topics into a recorder, and have some young person transcribe and develop the manuscript.
Ali Madi, we just registered a publishing company. So again, I will reach out to you, Mama Mwatima, and we'll
definitely.
But that's a great
that
idea.
Will be helpful. Yes, because I have been doing this. I've been doing quite a lot of an interview. Recently, there was a young lady from Brazil, and she came to the farm and we talked and we did quite a lot of the interview in terms of what is happening, the changes and the dynamism that is now coming out, which I'm very proud. Most of our people of the color have realized that we have been taken for granted for too long, and now we need to live for our own cause, and we have to be with our own narratives, and we should not follow other people's narratives. That's what is building up. So it will be very helpful for me if I can get such kind of a support to be able to do other things. And then the other support is we want to try to see if we can be of a support also for the middle level kind of the farmers in our spaces. If the support from the government or for anyone comes in, Msonge Farm does not qualify because it does not qualify as a smallholder farmers. I'm not qualified as a small farmers, but I have other aspects. If I can get support, they could be much easier to be. I could be kind of a hub to support others. If I said I need a space whereby I can chop and cut and pack the vegetables so that then we can organize for a collective marketing, and I will be able to take that to the hotels. I will not get that support. I need a refrigerated car so that I can go into the neighbors' farms and collect that. No, we don't get that. But if there is a project from the government for anyone, it will be supporting them. But if you support them to produce and then you don't support them to sell the extra that they get, then the cycle remains the same. And we are always doing that and that and that. And we should remove this thinking of the so-called middle level. Some of us, we are not even living from the farm. We are still living from the pension of the money that we are getting from somewhere else. But that's what I'm telling my staff in the farm always. I'm creating a space for you to be able to support your families. So don't take it for granted. I can stop this. I can stop everything. At my age, I have a shelter, I can eat, and I can live with my pension. But I think if I stop this, the 8 of you will have suffering because you are getting the money from here to support your families, but you need to produce. We need to show people that it's produced. So that's a little bit of a difficulties. But we will talk about this, and I'm happy, and I will be ready to work together if needs be to prepare a manuscript or writing or something like that before I lose my memory. They say when you get
yes. You know what? If you have a recorder, start recording. I know you have a phone. Start recording that memory before you lose it. But
we'll keep reminding you.
I have a question, Alimadi. Speaking of the original seed, do you have a seed bank? Do you have a system of saving the seed?
Not me as a person, I don't. You won't believe it. I'm still depending on US to get my seeds from planter, from the shop which is in Kansas.
Right.
They have the open pollinated seeds, which I can trust them. And if I get somebody coming from US, they bring the seeds, I plant them, and then I can use them for several generations, for 2 or 3 times, and then I wait for another person to come in to get my seeds from planter, but I don't. But one of our member organization, in not one, more than one, they are supporting farmers, and they have seed banks. They call them the farmer seed bank. They get support. They build a space where they do the storage of the seeds, and they also support in training to have seed banking in both ways, in situ, means growing and harvesting and making sure you keep the purity of the seeds, and then also the ones that they keep in storage within their small community. And from time to time, we organize to have events of seed sharing.
Yeah.
You bring your colored maize, you bring your what we call them, pumpkins and the like, and someone bring this one, you don't have this, you want this. They do a bit of that exchange. But to be honest, most of the traditional seeds have been lost. Some of us who called ourselves old, we still remember what happened with our pigeon pea that used to stay for 2 years. And when we have finished harvesting, it can also serve as a firewood. And the new variety now, high yielding, short, what they call it,
Lifespan.
early maturity, high yielding, you don't even get anything out of it, and after 3 months it's finished. So is a bigger effort in terms of bringing back the seeds, and I have not ventured into that side myself. Yeah, there's so many things that could be really interesting to go into.
Okay, maybe one more observation. I would like you to give me your thoughts on this. So, for example, as early as 1965, when Nkrumah wrote his book Neocolonialism: The Last Stage of Imperialism, there's a chapter where he discusses food self-sufficiency. And he said it's very critical for African countries to be self-sufficient in food. Otherwise, we would lose our independence if we don't succeed in doing that. And then, of course, that was a very big issue for Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso as well. And they became food self-sufficient within 3 years after he came into power. So now last year, we saw African leaders going to Russia because they were literally begging for food from Russia and Ukraine, because the war between the two has disrupted the export of grains from those parts of the world. And number one, it's extremely embarrassing to watch leaders of the continent that has the most abundant fertile land in the world. And that's number one. Number two, I only found out last year that African countries import 35 billion US dollars every year worth of food from outside the continent. So could you just maybe, as a way to wrap up, give us your thoughts on this particular issue?
It's, you said it is embarrassing. And in most of the discussion we are having, we are all talking about such an embarrassment into it. We are even, I was in a discussion whereby what do we need to do? Because even starting with traveling within Africa is a nightmare.
Right.
Yeah. Coming from the east, going to the west is really challenging. We could be able to specialize and sales among ourselves. We don't have to go to Pakistan or to US to get maize or to get rice. We could say, what is Kenya producing? What is Tanzania producing? You have rice, yes, we have rice. We can get avocados, yes, you get this. Trading within Africa, it has been always a discussion at the levels of Africa Union, but and as you said, since the time of Kwame Nkrumah, but we have not made the step out of it. And to my personal opinion is, you want to interfere other people's business and they will not let you succeed, as it has started with divide and rule.
Right.
And it is continuing in a different way, in a corner of the food. If you want to be trading amongst ourselves, transport alone, it will be too much. So you need to really systematically start working. What stops us having the best roads? US, you travel from New York to California by road. Eh?
Yeah.
Why can't we travel even within East Africa by road and carry our stuffs and not harassing too much our own selves when we get to the borders in terms of bringing this and that?
Right.
She knows Tanzania and Kenya. This time
Right.
it's okay. This time, oh, Kenya has started again. This time, oh, Tanzania has started again.
Yeah.
Me personally, I feel like we don't realize that, and we are not. It's embarrassing, as you said, but also we are not ourselves conscious. Like we fight for small things, and we have been played around.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't allow Kenyan, they talk to you, they say like you are not good enough for this and that. And the Kenyan said, oh, Tanzanian, why they are doing this to us? And then divide and rule kind of thing. So we will not be able to get out of that nightmare if we don't really seriously use our Africa Union to say, this is a must, let's show us what you are doing, and in terms of putting that things into action. We have been pushed to eat things which we are not producing. And that's why we still remain to go to Russia.
Yes.
What the hell we are doing? We are using wheat. It's not ours. But
Thank
now
you.
we cannot move. We are even having spaghetti in the morning. I was in Mbeya the other day. I said, what got into our mind? What happened with our bananas to be our breakfast? Why are we
Sweet
cooking
potato.
spaghetti? Why are we cooking spaghetti in the morning and we know that we are not even going to be able to produce that much wheat?
Right.
Yeah. And what we get from Ukraine is their business. And
Yeah.
we are all bread in the morning, bread in the afternoon. If we say no more bread, we don't need to go to them. We have
Exactly.
sorghum, we have millet, we have maize, we have cassava, we have sweet potatoes, we have potatoes. Why do we have to take something which is not ours? Within my talk about the farm to table, I always, even my customers where we are selling them pakacha, we always talk about let us go with the season.
Yes.
We get out of the season. We are pushing ourselves to have something we don't want. Everybody now wants to have apple. In the humid tropics of Zanzibar and Dar es Salaam, you insist of having an apple, which you know that this needs a different climate to grow, and then it will take time to bring to you. Okay. Nowadays, we started to grow apples in the colder places of Iringa, Njombe, and what. But if we go with the season, we will not suffer. But people will say this is not modern. We get ourselves modernized. Because we brainwashed,
Yeah.
to think that what people have been doing is right. There was a couple guys today in our farm to table, and I was telling them about eating with hands,
I
and
saw
we go like, yeah, we say, so this place here is very inclusive. We take people with disabilities and we have the tools for them, at least a spoon. If you really push us to get you a fork, we try our best, but that tool is really also a rare commodity in our house,
Yes.
but we will try. But we will encourage you to eat with a hand. And then when I move to their table and we talk and they say, Matima, we failed. We are really disabled. And I say, yeah, we allow these people to make us think our hands, which we know what we touch, is not clean, then a spoon, and we trust somebody else who washed it. What is wrong with us?
Right.
This is your hand. You know it. What you touch, what you did not touch. You can wash it the way you want it and use it. But you are okay with the spoon, just to bring it to you. And I say, okay, this is a clean spoon. How sure are you if that spoon is clean spoon? Like, oh, yes, you know, yeah. And I've been told them, and you, Wazungu, you are the one responsible for this stupid
Hey!
In fact, when I go to Washington, whenever I visit Washington, I go out of my way to go to this restaurant called Swahili Village.
Yes.
Owned by Kenya.
Called what?
It's expensive.
Swahili Village. But the food is good, and I get to eat with my hands. And that's why I go out of my way to get to that restaurant. You know, one final thing I would like to suggest also, you need to find a young Tanzanian who's very good in editing these short videos, because a lot of the information you have needs to go viral, as they say. There's a lot of viral videos that's talking about a lot of nonsense from different African countries. But yours, you're actually providing a lot of beneficial information that needs to really be spread widely. So that would be my final suggestion for you. Go ahead, Sister Nduku.
Alimadi, as you say that, I'm thinking of Prince Ifo and the Young African Leaders Forum. Maybe we should connect them because they have members in Tanzania. Those young members you're talking
Which one
about.
is that?
It's called the Young African Leaders Forum, and they have members in Tanzania. Young people who are tech savvy and all that. So maybe that's the thing to do, because they are friends of ours. We collaborate with them, is to connect you with that organization and see whether you can connect with those youth.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
okay.
If you're watching, yes, we're going to connect you.
So go ahead, wrap up, Sister Nduku.
Oh, me? All right. Mama Mwatima, do you have any last words, any last request? Yes, anything to say as we close?
Yeah, for me, I'm already 60 plus, and every day when I wake up, there were times when I say, forget about this organic thing, nobody's going to listen to me. But there are days like today when I wake up and get someone who is asking me about something, or if I come across a young person who is talking passionately about it, and there's so many of them, I say, yes, there is still a hope into this, and yes, we could do something about it, and I would really, really like to see this being pioneered by the young people, and to be more of what we call it. So this word nowadays, which is so social enterprise. Whatever you are doing to get money out of it, how much is that impacting your society? At one time, we had been moving too much into I don't care provided I make money. Can we please be a bit conscious? Because you can say you are not care now, but your children, your sister's children, if you don't have children, your brother's children, the other people generation, your neighbors, anybody else, if it is not today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, what you are doing for making your money today, just for get more money for what? For a bit of a leisure, so that you can just go for holiday and swim and have your house with the 14 rooms with the swimming pool in each room. and then what? What is there for the society? So if we get that conscious, we will really move away from the farming, which is harming our environment, which is harming our ecosystem, which is harming our health, because then we'll be conscious. Let conscious speak to us. We are losing conscious of thinking about the other people, what it will happen to them if I spray this and then I sell to them. Will I be able to leak? If it kills this insect, what about cumulatively? What is it going to do to that? So let's bring back the conscious in our doing, in quest for getting rich, and let's have a bit of a limitation in getting rich. Let's not go beyond getting rich and then you don't even know so what. And if you keep on asking yourself, you want more money and then what? Then you know that you don't need that much money, but do something for the society, which is still breaking down in all aspects. If there are people who doesn't get food, there are people who doesn't get clothing, what we are doing with them, instead of get 2 cars and 10 houses and all those kind of things. Might not be seen in line with organic, but it is in line with the big principles of the organic, which is talking about fairness.
Yes.
And Mama Mwatima, basically in that short description or observation, spoke about Ubuntu, right? And we called this Ubuntu farming. You want the land to take care of you by giving you healthy food, you have to take care of the land. And this is what they're doing there. And I encourage you all to visit their YouTube channel again. We shared it in the chat. And it is in the description. Go and see the work that they're doing. And the point of us having these conversations is so that we can replicate, right? So if you have land in Africa and you have the access to seed, good seed, and you can do your own style of farming, no one is hindering you from, please take on the lessons that you're learning and start putting them into action. If you're someone who's in the United States, you want to help, you don't know how, you don't have land, send money to Mama Mwatima and the organizations that are doing work so that we can start having action and it's not just talking all the time. Last word.
No, I think I've learned quite a lot. Actually, I'm very honored that we hosted you today.
Yes.
And as I said,
Thank
we
you.
will do everything we can to promote you further. I also have a radio show on WBAI here in New York. We will definitely host you on that show as well. And any other platform that I can think of, I will let you know about it. So, asante sana. Go ahead.
Asante sana Mama Mwatima.
I'm sorry, my things that you did not see my face, because every time I try, it is telling me that you have to turn off this and that. And you know, we are people of the BC before computers. So when we try to, next time you will see me.
But the thing I like about this is that all of you can see, despite the challenges that we face, you can still do the work. Despite the tech, we can figure out other ways to bring her in. Just because it's not perfect doesn't mean you cannot go on with it. So I hope you learned that lesson today. It doesn't have to be perfect for you to do the work. Asanteni, kwaherini.